And what I mean by that is if he moves twice, let's just say, for example, 1, 2. He couldn't attack because he'd have to move into the area. That would be a third move, to move into Colston's area. So at this point, he could move directly across and attack twice, which I'm considering that. Or he could come around here, and that way, strategically, it may be a better move because you'll notice there's 2 green arrows. So he may not be doing anything this turn, but setting up for a future turn. And plus vacating this area, maybe Meade will fill that in. So that's what I'm going to do for Reynolds. I'm simply going to move 2 spaces from 6 to 16 to 17 and end my turn. So my turn is done. Also, if Colston attacks me, he's going to take a 1 dice penalty. Okay? So we're done with the human player turn. Well, almost. I've got 3 cubes over here. I come back to here. Do I want to buy anything? Obviously, I can't buy the first one. I can't buy the second one. I could buy this third one, which does come in handy, usually later when you get down in your cohesion strength, and we'll talk about that more later. I do like that. I do want to buy it, but I don't need to buy it yet, so I'm just going to hold off. I'm going to discard this. This moves up. This moves up. And we go ahead and flip over another one. And that one tells us +1 cohesion to the successful formation if it has just forced an enemy to retreat. So that's kind of a good one too. But with that said, we are all done with the human player. So let's go to the bot player. Now, I will apologize ahead of time. Sometimes I call the bot player a computer. So if you hear me say that, I don't have any computer here. It's just a bot. Okay, so we're going to grab the bot player card. First thing you'll notice, there's 2 leaders on the card, McLaws and Anderson. All right, now, so what we're going to do is read down the list here. It says, so the main thing you're looking for is an attack here. You're looking for an attack. So it says attack if adjacent to enemy, but not over the river. So the bots, the Confederate bots, will never attack across the river. Well, if you notice, McLaws is not even on the board. He's way over here on the hidden movement track. So he can't attack, obviously, but instead what will happen, it says otherwise +1 on the HMT. So he's going to move 1 over there on the HMT, and then we continue down. And it says, if HMT2 attack. Well, it's not HMT2, so he's not going to attack. It says if HMT3 plus, which it's not, he's not going to attack. It says otherwise build, and so on. 2 otherwises there. They do not apply unless it's HMT3 plus. So this is important. If it's HMT3 plus and they end up not attacking, then they're going to do one of those 2 otherwise statements. That's important to note, and I'm sure one of those will probably come into focus sometime during the game. So with that done, let's go to Anderson. Anderson's in the same boat. Will he attack? No, because why? He's on the HMT track, so there's nobody next to him. They will only attack an adjacent enemy. In this case, he goes up +2 on the HMT, so let's lift Anderson 2. Okay. So Anderson's at +2 over there. And it says, if we continue down, if HMT2 attack, 22, 10, 9, 8, 18. Now, if you notice, take my word for it, none of those have anybody in it. They're all empty. So he can't attack, obviously. So if all of them are empty and there's nowhere, so in other words, he's not going to attack, then you go into reverse turn order. So that means starting with 18, you're looking for an empty area, one which does not have a friendly unit, to place the formation. So in this case, 18. So Anderson will go onto the board. We're going to just discard that. We'll take Anderson and we're going to put him in this key objective area there at 18. Okay? You'll notice I called it an objective area. There are 3 of them, 3 circled orange or red areas. Okay. They have to do with winning conditions. They also have to do with movement. The bots will like to move toward objectives and capture them. Let me just talk real quick about winning objectives. So at the end of the game, if I, as the Union, have captured all 3 of those orange areas and have defeated, or in other words, completely wiped out 3 Confederate formations, I win the game. Now, it's still not clear to me if that is an instant win. So let's say I do it, at turn 13, is the game over? Or do I have to do it do I just have to hold on till the end of the game? And I'm still not sure of it. Maurice Suckling seemed to say he should have changed the wording of by the end of the game to at the end of the game. So that tells me you kind of got to hold on to it. So if anybody wants to clarify that with me, feel free. By the way, any rules I do, if I get them wrong, please, if you could, mention I got them wrong. And even more importantly, please give a rules reference. Okay, that would be super helpful. Okay, so the bot's turn is over. I hope you learned something. And now let's go back to the human player's turn. Now, one thing I forgot to do at the end of last turn was grab a activation card, which I will grab. And I grabbed Couch Mead. So I have some options open to me. I've got a Couch Mead, Reynolds Sedgwick, Howard, and Slocum. So looking at this, again, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on strategy, because I could sit here and just AP this game to death and you guys would get bored. So I'm going to immediately take this Howard and Slocum card. I'm going to place it there, and this is just my methodology. I like to overlap them because that way I will see when I do 3 in a row. In this case, I get 2 momentum cubes. Why? Because that's how many are on the card I just played. And then I get to move Howard twice, and I get to move Slocum once. Slocum's a minor activation. What am I forgetting to do already? Let's move Howard once and Slocum once on the cohesion track. Now we're going to do the minor activation first. That's easy. We're just going to move Slocum 1 spot from 1 over here to 8. All right. And then we're going to move Howard twice. I like this move for Howard. The reason I like it, he's going to move 1 and then 2, and he's going to attack. And the other reason I like it, if we go over that and focus on it, notice there's 2 green arrows. Remember what I said about the green arrows? So if we come back over here, it says attacking along along double-headed green arrows, I get 2 additional dice. So instead of rolling a regular 5 dice, I get to roll 7. So hopefully we'll roll better than last turn. So there's the battle. Howard is going to attack Anderson. And remember, I can do this twice. So I'm going to do it. And, well, this is much better than last time. Look at that roll. I'll take that all day long. Wow, that's a great roll. 2 6s, 2 5s, a 3, a 2, and a 1, which we can ignore because they're not doubles. The 3, I come over here. I'll take a momentum cube right there. Okay, but with the double 5s and double 6s, look at that. The defender, oops, wrong one. Defender loses 1 cohesion on double 5s. Defender loses 2 cohesion and retreats on double 6s. So he is going to retreat, and he's going to lose 3 cohesion. So first of all, let's go over to Anderson and knock him down 3 cohesion. So that is a much better roll than last time. Now, he's going to retreat also. And the rules for the bot, he will always try to retreat closer to objective area 22. And he will just simply do that, okay? Now, there may be other things to consider if there was already somebody there, but hopefully if we come to that, we'll cover it then. All right, so Howard takes his spot there. he could, if he wanted to. Well, no, I don't believe he could attack. I don't believe he can attack again because he couldn't move again. That would be 3 movements. So his turn is effectively over. But that was a very, very good turn for us. All right, so we've got all these momentum cubes there. And I'm trying to figure out how I ended up with 6 cubes, because I really should only have 4, I think, because I've only played 2 cards. So if somebody out there can correct that, but I think that's it. I should just have 4. So if I come over here, I do like this plus this reorganized card, +1 cohesion for any chosen formation. I kind of like that. It's just a safety valve card in case I'm getting real low. So I'm going to take 2 cohesion, put him back, take that card. I just put it face up in front of me somewhere, right there. And then I'm going to replenish these cards. Okay, so we're done with that. Except for grabbing a card, my turn is done. So let's go ahead and grab a card. It's couch and meat again. So I'm grabbing duplicates of cards. There's not a whole lot of duplicates, but I just happen to be grabbing them at this time. So with that said, let's go to the bot turn, and let's see if the bots will get in some action here. So we grab a card, and first thing we see is McClaws. Remember where we left McClaws? He's up here on the hidden movement track. So he's not on the board. He's not adjacent to an enemy. So we're going to say otherwise. It says otherwise +1 HMT. So we're going to move him 1 on the HMT track, and we keep going down. It says if HMT is 2, attack 22, 10, 9, 8, 18. All right, so if we look at the board, I think we're going to have an attack here. See that number 18? So McClaws will come on the board and attack Howard. Now it's important to note that when a bot comes off the board, he does not really come from any direction per se. So he doesn't get, since we didn't really know where he was, he doesn't really get advantage of the green arrows, nor does he get the disadvantage of any red arrows. It's just he comes on the board. I just usually place him in the same location and go ahead and throw the dice. Now in this case, unlike the human player who rolls 5 dice, the bot only rolls 2 dice. So we're going to take 2 dice here, and we're going to roll them. And he rolls a 6 and a 1. So let's see what that 6 and 1 do for us. So we come over here, and we look at the combat results for the bot. So first, looking at the 1, it says attacker loses 1 cohesion. So the attacker is McClaws. I'm the attacker. So McClaws is going to lose 1. I'm sorry, Howard. Wait, hold on. Give me a minute. Okay, let me slow down. I apologize. McClaws is attacking. He's the bot. McClaws is going to lose 1. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, folks. And then we look at the 6, and it says defender loses 3 cohesion plus retreats. So Howard just kind of got his butt kicked. He's going to lose 3 cohesion. So we look over here, 1, 2, and 3. And then he retreats. Now the rules for retreating for the human player is that they will usually retreat away from 22, as far as in terms of spaces, by the way, not in terms of physical distance. Okay, so for example, these 2 are 2 spaces. This 9 is 2 spaces away from 22, and so is 19, but 19 is further physical distance, but we don't care about that. They will also, usually, the human player will retreat toward the north, and you'll notice the north right there is facing me. So Howard will retreat over to here, 9. McClaws takes that location, so he kicked Howard out of there. So the bot is halfway through his turn. Let's go to the next one, is Anderson. Where is Anderson? So Anderson is right there. So we get to see something different now. Again, this is why I'm really happy how this is working out, because you get to see different things. So it says Anderson, attack if adjacent to an enemy. Well, is he adjacent to an enemy? He is not. There's no arrows leading from him to an enemy. So instead, it says otherwise +1 HMT. Now, you'll notice we do not go any further. If a bot player goes from the board to the HMT, it is the end of their turn. They do not keep going down the list as they would if they were already on the HMT. Okay? So Anderson scooped up, put on number 1 on the HMT, as the card says, and his turn is over. So we've already played 2 turns for the bot, 2 turns for the human player. I hope you're catching on to this, seeing some things. And now we're going to look at our cards. So we've got either Couch Mead or Reynolds and Sedgwick. So I'm going to, let's get Couch Mead. We got 2 of them. I'd like to get them into the mix. We're going to play this 2 square or 2 cube card, and I'll show you why right now. So first thing I do when I play it, I get 2 cubes, right? So we're going to play it right there. So I get 2 cubes for playing it. Put them over there. But you notice what I said earlier. If you ever have a set of 3, you get an extra 2 cubes. Now, again, I want to reiterate, it doesn't matter if that set of 3 is 3 1s or 3 3s or 3 2s. It's always 2 cubes. So I'm going to grab my 2 cubes off camera, put them in my pile, which I now have 6. And we're basically done with this pile. I'll discard it right after this turn. So first thing I'm going to do before I forget, I'm going to subtract a cohesion from Couch and a cohesion from Mead. So let's do that. There is Couch and there is Mead. Okay, so Couch gets the major activation. Mead gets the minor. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have Couch kind of come in the fray here, kind of getting the action here. He's going to go up there. So I'm sorry, I did it off camera. Couch just moved from location 3 to 11 and then to here, which is 12. Okay? He's getting ready maybe to battle early. And then Mead, I can just move him once. I'm going to move him there. Now, I could move him with Sedgwick. Okay? And let me bring up a couple reasons why I don't want to do that. Strategically, it might make more sense to put him there. But I also want to bring up something now that the author brings up. It is not to your advantage. In fact, it is to your disadvantage to put 2 formations together. And the reason for that is if 2 formations, and this holds true for the bot player too, ever get attacked, the results count against both of them. So there's a built-in disadvantage to having 2 formations on a space rather than 1. So you really don't want to have 2 on a space. Sometimes you kind of can't help it, but that's the way that works. All right? So with that done, we are done with the human player's turn. Let's see if we want any of these cards. I kind of like this Tide of Battle. It says you get a cohesion, +1 cohesion to the successful formation if it has just forced an enemy to retreat, enemy formation. So I'm going to pay 2 and grab that. We're going to grab 2 cubes, and that's the end of our turn. Okay, except I need to grab a card. Let's see what we grab. It looks like we grabbed Sedgwick and Reynolds. Okay, so for those of you who are wondering, cards, this is kind of strange that I keep getting similar cards come out. There's a variety, okay? So you'll see that as the game goes on. By the way, I didn't mention that sometimes you will have 2 minor formations. We haven't seen one yet, but we'll I'm sure before the end of the game, before I quit filming, we'll probably see some. Okay, these 3 are done as a set of 3. Remember I said you can't really do a set of 4, so we're just going to discard those, and basically we're going to start a whole new pile next time. Okay, looking at our cards, we got 2 1s and a 2, so I might grab one of these cards with 1 because I like getting that 2 cube bonus. All right, with that said, let's go to the bot player. Turn 3 for the bots. Okay, this time we have 3 generals. You will always either notice you'll notice 2 or 3 leaders on a card. So in this case, it's AP Hill, and it says attack if adjacent to enemy, not over river. Now, if you look at Hill, what do we have there? He is next to Sedgwick, but it's across the river, so he's not going to attack. So rather, what's going to happen, it says otherwise plus 2 HMT. Now, remember what we said. If we take him from the board to the HMT, then what happens? Nothing. He ends his turn. So I put Hill over there, plus 2 on the HMT, and now we keep going. Early. It says early, attack if adjacent to an enemy, not over river. Well, if you look, Sickles is across the river. He wouldn't attack him. But look over here to the right is Couch. So early is going to attack Couch. And how many dice does the bot player roll? Remember, he rolls two dice. Also notice black arrow, there's no modification to the dice. So he's going to roll 2 dice. And we rolled a 6 and a 2. So we go over to the bot chart there, and we see a 2. Attacker loses a cohesion, so early is going to lose a cohesion. That's his first one. But we also notice a 6. Defender loses 3 cohesion and retreats. So Couch gets blasted here. Somehow I knocked Howard off, and I think Howard, give me just a second here. Howard should be down to 13 if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I somehow knocked him off. So Couch just lost 3, 1, 2, 3. And actually, I think Howard is down to 10. Didn't I lose 3 last time? So it's kind of easy to knock these cubes, especially when you're wearing a robe like I am, a long robe with big sleeves. So you might want to wear short sleeves when you're doing this. But anyway, so Couch just is forced to retreat. What's the rule? He's going to retreat away from 22 and north and across the river if possible. All those hold true. So Couch does that, and early moves over there. Now you'll note he's given away an objective. And that may not seem like the best move for the bot player. But as one of the guys answered on Board Game Geek, I brought this question up. He said, well, you never know what these generals will do or are capable of. And so it's fairly early in the battle, too, and he could possibly reclaim that. But for now, Early has successfully taken out Couch. Okay? Taken out's not a good word. Caused him to retreat. Okay, next thing we're going to look at on the card, Colston. Last one, attack if adjacent to an enemy, not over the river. Okay, well, look at that. If we look at Colston, he is adjacent to an enemy. Notice also there is 1 red arrow at Reynolds' location. So what that means is Colston's only going to throw 1 dice. That's all he gets. So we grab our dice. Let's see what we get. And it's not a great one for the bot. He rolls a 1. If you recall what a 1 is, its attacker loses 2 cohesion. So that's not good for Colston. Colston over here is going to lose 2. So he's down at 12. No movement, of course, by Colston or Reynolds. Colston would simply go back to his original location. And just like that, we're done with the bot player. So I hope you're at least getting kind of a feel of what's going on. And now it's my turn. All right, so I've got these 3 here. Let's quickly try to think of what we might do. I really like, I really like the Sedgwick Reynolds card, and I'm going to show you why. So Sedgwick has a couple options. Sedgwick could simply move into that key objective area there. Sedgwick could move into there with 2 movement, which I think I might have him do. Or he could attack off Colston. They would both be attacking off Colston's flank, both Sedgwick and Reynolds up there. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to just move Sedgwick. I want to capture this objective, so I'm going to move him 2 spaces. By the way, I'm using this card, Sedgwick Reynolds. Before we forget, let's move Sedgwick, Reynolds, and Sedgwick. Okay? And then we get 1 cube. So we do that. And then the next thing we're going to do, Sedgwick moved twice. So Reynolds gets a move. Reynolds is going to come over here and attack Colston. Notice 2 green arrows. Can you see that? So that means Reynolds is throwing 7 dice, which is nice. So I've got 7 dice ready to go. Let's throw them. And a really, really good roll, pretty much. Well, we've got some good and bad. I'm not taking them out. We've got 2 6s, 2 4s, a 3, and 2 1s. I could roll the double 1s really just to get rid of them, but I think I'm okay with that. So what this means, Reynolds, if we go over here, double 1, the attacker loses a cohesion. So Reynolds will lose 1 cohesion, but that's a small price to pay when you see what will happen next. Next, we have a 3. Remember what the 3 is? The 3 for the human player also. No, it's a little bit different. We don't get a momentum card. I'm sorry. The defender loses 1 cohesion on a 3. Okay? So, in fact, let's do all these at once. So, we have 1 3. So, the defender is going to lose 1 cohesion. We have 2 4s. So, the defender loses 2 cohesion. We have 2 6s. I've got this totally wrong. I apologize. I just had a brain fade, guys. I'm sorry. 2 1s over here. I'm looking at the human player, so I apologize. Okay. I'm an old man. I'm 64 years old, and this kind of stuff happens. So we've got 2 4s. Defender loses 1 cohesion. 2 6s. The defender loses 2 cohesion and retreats. We also have a 3. So I'm going to get a cube with the 3. Okay, right there. And with the 4s and the 6s, the defender loses 3 cohesion and is forced to retreat. So he got his little bottom kicked. So Colston loses 3. That's pretty severe. 1, 2, 3. He's also going to retreat. Remember what we said about retreating for the bot player, for the Confederate player? He's going to try to retreat to closer to 22. So he retreats right there, because it's closer in location, it's closer in number of spaces, okay? If he went from here to here, that'd still be 2 spaces away. Reynolds takes his spot, all right? And that is, let's see, let me think. That was 1 attack. Yes, because I only had 1 attack with Reynolds, 1 activation. So that turn is over. So we're done with that part of my turn, the human player. I do have a lot of cubes over here, 6 cubes. And you know what I forgot to do last time? I forgot to refill this. So let's refill that. And now I'm going to pick one of these. And there's a card I absolutely love. 1 die is an automatic 6 this turn. Oh, I'm picking that one. Even though it cost me 4 cubes, that's a great, great die. 4 cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got to refill. Okay. Then I've got 2 cards. By the way, you're only allowed to buy 1 card. So I couldn't take 2 of my cubes and buy another one. All right. Now I'm going to grab my replacement. And it is Sickles Mead. So that's what I have right now for next turn. Now let's go to the bot player. Again, the Confederate bot player. And we start off with Early. And Early, it says, what I'm really liking about this game so far, we're seeing a whole lot of different things happen. So you're getting to see a lot. For example, on this one, it says attack if adjacent to enemy, not over river. Well, if you notice, Early is adjacent to 2 enemies. Okay? So what do you do in that case? Well, the bot player will usually, the Confederate player will usually try to attack into an objective. So he's going to attack Sedgwick. Notice just a black die. a black arrow, I mean. So he's going to roll 2 dice. So let's clear out some of these dice. We're going to roll 2 and see what we get. So we get a 6-1. So we go over here, 6-1. A 1 says attacker loses 2 cohesion. Boy, the bot's not doing real great here. So he's going to lose 2. Puts him down there. But the 6 is pretty good. The defender loses 3 cohesion and retreats. So Sedgwick has to retreat. Now, let's do the 3 cohesion first. So Sedgwick is going to lose 3. 1, 2, 3. He's getting awful close to these orange spaces. And what that means, that's going to be a cohesion test. We'll talk about that when the time comes. Now, the one thing I'm not sure about, so I'm going to just jump right into the book and let you guys see it, is Reynolds must retreat. Now, I'm not sure he's going to retreat to where Sickles is, because usually they retreat north and across the river, or if he would go to 14 because there's already a guy, Sickles, at that spot. So let's look here. As a general thing here, it says defender retreats. Formations forced to retreat must move out of the location and away from the location where the attacking formation came from. Formations never retreat into a location occupied by the enemy. If formations have more than one possible target, they will go to the location with the fewest friendly formations. So that's important. All right. And we look at the Union. They always try to retreat away from location 22. If there is a choice, they will always try to retreat to a location further north and up the river. However, in this case, they don't want to go to where Sickles is. So they're going to move right there. Okay? And Colston takes over. He's got the objective area now. All right? And I believe that was Colston and not, or was that early? Now I am confused. Was that early or Colston? I'm trying to remember, guys. That was early, I'm pretty sure. So early take. I hope that was early. Otherwise, you just get to see an extra battle. Okay, so next thing we see is Colston. It says attack of adjacent to an enemy, not over river. Well, you notice he's adjacent to 2 enemies. So in this case, neither of them are in an objective. And so we're just going to roll a die to determine which he will attack. So we'll say Reynolds on a 1, 2, or 3, Sedgwick on a 4, 5, and 6. He rolled a 1. So he's going to attack Reynolds. He's just going to roll 1 die. And we rolled a 1. So not a great roll for the bot. Attacker loses 2 cohesion. So Colston goes back where he is. He loses 2. So if you notice, Colston's getting down there too. That's something for us to consider. We may want to put a hurting on Colston. Okay? All right. So I hope that I did that. I got a little confused. I hope I did that right with early. If I didn't, hopefully at least you got the gist. Like I said, I will make some mistakes, but my whole purpose in doing this video is just to try to give you an idea of the bot player and how he plays. Okay? I apologize for any further mistakes, for camera work, all that. So as we continue, we've got 3 choices. I've got Couch and Mead over here. And I'm really tempted to, now if you notice my cubes, I've got 2, 1, and 2. I've already played a 1. I could play Couch and Mead, that's another 1, in hopes of next turn getting another single cube, so I get that 2 cube bonus, but it's not life and death. It's not that important. I could play Sickles and Mead. Mead is kind of way back there. And you know what I'm going to do? I am going to do Sickles and Mead. Okay, just do something. Well, I'm really tempted to do Couch and Mead. So yeah, let's do Sickles and Mead. Just let's get them. I know that's, so in this case, I'm getting rid of the 1 completely because I'm starting basically a new set. But I do get two momentum cubes, And Sickles is my major activation, and Mead is my minor one. So we're going to go with Sickles, and we're going to attack early, probably twice. Now, I could always change my mind, or I could even just move him. But, boy, I'm tempted to move him. No, just to illustrate the game, I'm going to go ahead and attack him because I want to get as many attacks in as possible just to show you guys what's going on. So Sickles will get to attack twice. If you notice, there's a red die. Since there's a red die, what happens? -1. I hope I've done that in the past. So -1 die, we roll, and what a beautiful die roll, 2 6s. So double 6s, what happens? The defender loses 2 cohesion and retreats. So early is going to lose 2 more cohesion. That will take him down to 9. Okay? And he's going to retreat. Remember, they always retreat in the location of 22, and they don't like to be together. So he's going to retreat there. And Sickles, just like that, takes the location. Now, Sickles could attack again. But, I'm kind of happy with what I did there. I'm just going to leave it like that. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it. Hopefully, maybe some turn I'll put a redoubt in there and defend that spot a little bit. So for now, I'm just going to do that. Mead gets a single activation, and I'm just going to move him with Reynolds. Remember I said I don't like to do that? It's not the best thing to do, but we're going to do it anyway. Okay, now, one thing I forgot to do for cohesion, I forgot to push Sickles down 1. That's his first. And Mead down 1. Boy, I thought I've done Mead more than that, but I'm looking at past cards, and it looks like I haven't. So that's the second time for Mead. Okay, so I'm going to discard that. I'll grab another card. Looks like, there we go. There's an example of 2 minor activations, also 3 cubes. Okay, and if we look over here, I do have 4 cubes to spend. And you know what? Those are okay cards. I just want to discard that instead. I'm going to save my cubes. I've been rolling really good lately, and I just have a feeling those odds are going to change. And so I want to be able to save those cubes for a reroll. By the way, now's a good time to mention probably that rerolls only take place for the attacker, whether in the solo game or the 2-player game. Okay? So that means the attacker only. If I don't like the bot's rolls, I cannot make the bot re-roll them, or I can't re-roll them for the bot. Same if I'm playing a human player, the defender cannot use cubes to make the attacker, me, re-roll my dice. Okay? So with that said, let's go on. We're going to go over here, grab a bot card, if I can get it. And we've got Early and Hill. So where is Early? Well, Early looks like he's going to do... Oh, there's something at the top. I forgot it last time. I usually will forget this. It says +1 cohesion to the weakest formation. If you'll notice, the card before that had it too. So I'm just going to do that now. So the weakest formation right now is, it looks like Colston, and I'll do him again for this one. Granted, it may have been somebody else last turn, but that's real easy to forget. I don't know why I overlook that all the time, but I do. Okay, with that being said, Early, let's attack. It says attack if adjacent to an enemy. Well, Early is adjacent to 2 enemies. So I'll ask you guys, which one's he going to attack? Well, he's going to attack Sickles. Why? Because Sickles is in an objective area. So he's going to roll 2 dice. And he rolled double 3s. So what do double 3s do? It looks like double 3s. Defender loses 1 cohesion. So Early will not take that spot. Sickles will not retreat. But Sickles will lose 1 cohesion. Okay, and that's it. That was an easy turn for Early. We go to Hill. Hill is way over there on the HMT at space 2. So let's see what happens. It says attack if adjacent to an enemy, not over the river. He is not. Otherwise, +1 on the HMT. So we're going to move Hill up 1. He is now at 3. As we go down the card, it says if HMT is 4+, he is not. Remember, we do not pay attention to the otherwise unless he was at HMT 4+ and could not attack. But in this case, there's no 3 on here, so that's the end of his turn. Very quick bot turn. Okay? So let's go on. Now we got these 3 cards in front of us, and we got a whole bunch of choices. I'm not sure what I'm going to do at this time. I think I may just do Reynolds and Sedgwick to get a couple battles in, and I'll show you why. So Reynolds, I get 2 cubes. So I place those 2 cubes there. So you see Reynolds is there next to me. Sedgwick is there. So what I'm going to do is attack with Reynolds first. I'm trying to, I really want to get him out of there. I don't like him being stacked with Meade. By the way, the stack limit is always 2 anyway, but try to keep it to 1 if you can. So Reynolds is going to attack Colston, and I'm hoping I can really knock his cohesion down. So I give you an example of that. So let's see what happens. So he's going to attack him twice in this case. It's a black arrow right there. So he's going to attack him twice. 5 dice, which is the norm. And another very good roll. Wow, I am on fire. I'll tell you, very seldom do I ever roll this well. And just to let you know, yeah, this game's got luck, but I find it kind of balances itself out. I've played, like I said, about 15 games, and I'd say all but 2 of those have really come down to the last 1 or 2 turns. They're usually very close. Every once in a while you get a wipeout, but things can change in a hurry. This could change. I could all of a sudden start throwing lousy dice. But in this case, we had double 6s, double 4s. Let's go back here. The double 4s says the defender loses a cohesion. Double 6s, defender loses 2 cohesion. So that's 3 cohesion total. And he retreats. So Colston retreats. He's always going to go toward objective 22. Okay? Now, since he retreated that way, well, first, he's going to lose 3 cohesion. This is huge. 1, 2, 3, he's all the way down to 6. Okay? And because I've only moved once and attacked once, and Reynolds has a double activation, I get to illustrate yet another thing. I'm going to attack again. I'm really hoping to knock Colston back again. So, again, black arrow. And again, I'm going to roll 5 die. And wasn't the dice that roll I had hoped for, but I do have a 6 and a 5, which is kind of nice. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep the 6. I'm going to keep the 5. And I'm going to re-roll those 3 dice. Now, remember, I have a choice. I can use a cohesion, which I've only done, I think, once. My rolls have been so good. Or I can use 3 momentum cubes. Rather than losing a cohesion this time, I'm just going to use 3 momentum cubes. So I turn those 3 in. I'm going to roll these 3 dice and hope for a 6 or a 5. And look at that. I rolled a 6. So because of that, I've got double 6s. I go over here. Defender loses 3 cohesion and retreats yet again. Wow. So Colston is going to retreat. First, he's going to lose 3 cohesion. So let's do that first. We come over here. 1, 2, 3. Now, normally I would take the cohesion roll right now, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But just for sake of illustration, I want to illustrate something, how the bot will retreat to a location like that. Now, he's not going to retreat into Reynolds. That would be kind of crazy. But what he will do, there's a 10 and a 21 here. And the rules specifically say, in fact, let's go ahead and look at them. It says, retreating formations always try to retreat closer to 22, but in the case, there's the second bullet. If they have been forced out of location 22, which is the case here, they will first try to move to location 21 or 23. Well, he's not going to, it wouldn't make sense to move into the direction of Reynolds. He's going to retreat to 21, okay? Sometimes you'd have an option, you roll the dice, but in this case, it's pretty specific. Now, I do want to illustrate this, a cohesion roll. Okay? So what we have here, he's at 3. Whenever you reach the orange, you have to take what's called a cohesion test. You roll 1 die, and if the die you roll is greater than the number of the cube you're on, which in this case is 3, then that formation is defeated. It's out of the game. You simply remove it off the board. Any cards with his name on it, or, if it's got, you ignore that part of the card. So let's see if he's gone. We roll the dice. This is going to be big. And we rolled a 1. So unfortunately, Colston survived to live another day. Okay? So Reynolds did what he could. Now it's Sedgwick's turn because he's single activation. And Sedgwick is just going to move into the fray here. Now what this does, if you notice, it surrounds Early. Early's in a world of hurt if I attack him and he's forced to retreat. Because if I attack him and he's forced to retreat, he's basically dead. Okay? But in this case, that's the end of my turn. I'll discard this. I could buy a card here for 2. You know what? I kind of like Spirited. I'm just going to use 2 cubes, even though I'm a little worried I'm getting down on cubes, but I'll take Spirited. I haven't used any of mine, by the way, which is kind of strange by this time. I could use like Tide of Battle right now to add a cohesion. I forgot about this 6, which I would have used already. By the way, here we go. It says +1 cohesion to the successful formation if it just forced an enemy to retreat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that card because Reynolds did force somebody to retreat. So I'm going to add 1 to his cohesion. So Reynolds is back up to 12. Okay. And let me fill this back up. So I bought a card. Let me refill my hand. And that's the end of my turn. Okay? All right. So now what we're going to do is grab another bot card. It went out of focus there for a minute. Not sure why. Like I said, I'm all new at this. I've never done videos in my entire life. I'm 64. When I was young, we couldn't afford a camera. And now that I have one, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, but we're trying. Okay. There's the top again, which I often forget. +1 cohesion to the weakest formation. So the weakest formation in this case is Colston. So we will definitely add 1 to him. Okay. And then it says Anderson. Anderson will attack if adjacent to an enemy, but not over the river. Well, he's on the HMT. So what happens? It says otherwise +2 HMT. So let's move him up from 1 to 3. And then the next thing we do, it says if HMT 2, well, he's not. If HMT is 3+, he's going to attack 21 or 18. So let's look at the board. Okay, so where is 21 and 18? Well, this is 22. It's not saying he'll attack there. By the way, a little trick to use just to find these, because sometimes you got to remove the formations to see them, is look at this board over here. So if we see 18 matches where I am already, obviously I'm not going there. And 21 is right next to it over there. Or no, that's 20. 21, where's 21? Oh, there, 21 is where Colston is, okay? So in this case, what happens? I'm glad we had another example of what happens here, a new situation. So it says attack 21 or 18. Since we can't attack either of those, we place that formation in one of those areas starting from the right. So in this case, 18 already has a person there, and 21 already has a person there. So what do? We place it in the last spot. So in this case, he will go to 21. Not necessarily the best place for him to go, because now that's got 2 people there, and I can attack it and do double the hurt. Okay? But for now, we've done that. And then we do go down. There was no attack. So what do? It says, otherwise, build a redoubt if in an objective. So this is great. If I wasn't in an objective, Okay, one of the areas with the red. And that same thing happened. Let's say, just for example, he went there instead. I would build a redoubt. I would take one of these brown cubes there for defense purposes. I would build a redoubt. But in this case, I don't. It says otherwise attack towards nearest objective. 2 dice. Now, the way I understand this is you can move up to 2 and attack once. But in this case, we just need to move once. So Anderson's going to move once and attack and try to take this place back from Reynolds. Now, Reynolds has been putting a hurt on them. So he's going to try to seek some revenge. And Anderson's going to get to roll 2 dice because why? It's a black arrow. So he rolls his 2 dice. Let's see what we get here. We get a 5 and a 3. So what does a 5 and a 3 do? Well, 3 says defender loses 1 cohesion, and a 5 says defender loses 2 cohesion. But he does not back out, so simply loses 3 cohesion. So Reynolds is going to lose 3. 1, 2, 3. Maybe it was a good thing we added 1 to him. So finally, that was kind of a long turn for Anderson, but his turn is done. Next, we go to Early. Early's kind of in a world of hurt here. He's got to break out. So what's going to happen here? It says attack if adjacent to an enemy, not over river. And remember, he's also always going to try to attack an objective. And I've got a little cheat sheet here. And it says, first you're going to try to, if you're an attacker, you're going to try, if the bot is an attacker, he's going to try to attack an objective location. Well, there's 2 of them. He's going to attack the objective location with the fewest readouts. There are none. And then he's going to attack a non-objective location with fewest readouts. So in this case, all things being equal, he's just going to roll a d6 to determine which of these areas he's going to attack. So 1, 2, 3 for Sickles, 4, 5, 6 for Reynolds. Let's roll the dice, see what we get. And it looks like we rolled a 5. So he's going to attack Reynolds. So Early, and he better hope he can knock Reynolds out of there because he needs an escape valve. So Early's going to attack Reynolds. He's going to roll 2 dice. And he rolled a pretty good roll for the bot. So 2 5s, which means defender loses 2 cohesion, but he does that twice for 2 5s. Now he does not retreat though, so he's okay there. But he loses 4 cohesion. Reynolds, wow, all of a sudden this looked like he had a lot. He's down to 1, 2, 3, he's down to 5. So I have to take a cohesion test for Reynolds. So if you remember the rules about this, I am going to roll the dice. Now, if it's a 6, then I'm dead. Reynolds is dead. If it is a 5 or below, we're okay. And we look at that, just barely, there we go, 5. So we're okay. Reynolds will live to fight another day. So that's, what did we do there? That was Early. And now we finally deal with McLaws. McLaws is over there in that objective. And what it says here is attack if adjacent to enemy, not over river. Okay, so he's next to 2 guys there. He is next to Howard and he is next to Slocum. Now you'll notice one of them has a two green arrows. The other has an orange arrow. And I couldn't find in the rules that he would go with what's advantageous to him. All right. There was nothing in the rules that said that, at least that I could find. If I'm wrong about that, please correct me. So in this case, we're just going to roll 1, 2, 3 or 4, 5, 6 and see what we get. So 1, 2, 3 for Howard, 4, 5, 6 for Slocum. It's a 6. So he's going to attack Slocum with 1 die. We roll the die and it is a 5. So with a 5, what happens to Mr. Slocum? The defender loses 2 cohesion. So you begin to see these cohesion values go down for both sides. He does not take that place. He simply holds where he is. And that, I believe, is the end. Yes, that is the end of their turn. How many? I've played 1, 2, 3, 6 so far. 6 rounds. I don't know how much further we'll go. But I want to mention one thing. Let's see. Well, I'm trying to think of an example I want to put these back, so I don't want to forget this, but I'm trying to think of an example. If Howard was to fight McLaws and win, I just want to bring up another example of retreat. McLaws would, if it came off the HMT, and he was attacking, he would retreat to the location that gave him the bigger advantage in a future battle. So if he's coming off the HMT to the board, let's say McLaws was coming to fight Howard, let's say it was here, he's coming off to fight Howard, he would retreat to here. And the reason he would do that, because in a future battle, see the 2 green arrows, he would have an advantage. So that's kind of a quirky rule. I see why it's there. I like it, but it's hard to remember, okay? So we did that. So let's continue. The bot's turn is over. And now I'm just going to talk about hooker for a minute. Now, before we, I don't know if I'm going to use hooker this turn, but we have 3 cubes here. They have absolutely nothing to do with general hooker. That's just a placeholder for me. The only thing those cubes are for is, let's say on the board, if Sickles were to ever move out of that area, okay? Let's say Sickles attacked early, beat him, took that spot. We would place a cube there just to show that the last formation there was a Union formation. If there is no cube there, it's assumed to be Confederate, okay? So I just wanted to quickly address why we have those 3 cubes there, okay? They have nothing to do with General Hooker. This does, even though you see 3 cubes there, that's 3 momentum cubes. Don't confuse that with these. This one simply means it's ready right now, but if you use him, you move it to there, okay? So, you know what we're going to do. Just again, I want you guys to learn the game. Let's go ahead and use General Hooker. This normally would not be a time I'd use him. Really don't need to. Boy. You know, I don't want to use him right now. Maybe next turn. Maybe I'll go another turn. So because Sickles and Reynolds is such a good one to use right now. So we're going to use Sickles and Reynolds. We're going to take 3 cubes. Why are we taking 3 cubes? Because right there. We take 3 cubes, put them over there. Now what this means, Sickles gets a double activation, Reynolds gets 1. Well, you absolutely know what Sickles is going to do. Sickles is going after Early with a vengeance. He's going after him with 2 attacks. And the reason he's doing that, if you'll notice, Early has no escape route. If he loses this, he is gone. He is off the board. Okay, so we're going to roll 5 dice. Why 5? Because a black arrow going into the spot. Early is in. We roll the 5, and this time, not so good for us. We got 3 1s, a 2, and a 4. By the way, before I forget, I'm going to move Sickles down 1 for an activation and Reynolds down 1 for an activation. Now, I just moved Reynolds down 1. This is important, okay? Well, in fact, let's hold off on that because I am doing Sickles first, and this will matter. That's a good reason not to move down until you actually use them. Let me explain what I'm talking about. If I were to move that down right now, I'd have to do a cohesion test. If I failed, then Reynolds would be gone and Early would have a place to retreat, okay, if I forced him to retreat. But in this case, I want to leave him out there because I don't want him to retreat anywhere. I want to take him out. So if you notice, I rolled 3 1s, a 2, and a 4. We don't like any of them. We're going to roll them all over again, okay? Now, I either have a choice. I could either use Sickles cohesion or I could use 3 cubes. I only have 4 cubes. Cohesion, Sickles is doing okay, so I'm going to downgrade him by 1. Reroll that whole kit and caboodle. And whoops, forgot 1. And this time I end up with a 6, a 5, a 2, and 2 1s. So I'm going to push my luck again. I'm going to downgrade Sickles again. And the reason I'm doing that, I'm going to keep the 6 and re-roll these 4 because I'm just hoping for a 6. Come on. And I do get a 6. The reason I wanted a 6 is because, Remember, double sixes. Defender loses 2 cohesion and retreats. Well, early, he'd lose 2 cohesion, but that wouldn't take him out. However, he has nowhere to retreat to. So early is gone. We place him there. Okay? Sickles takes his spot. Another thing that happens, we take one of these cubes that I talked about earlier, and we place it right there to show that's a Union occupied space. Union claims that. Now, right now, it looks like the Union's doing really well, and really they are. This right here is probably the most lopsided game I've ever had. The dice are really going my way. So the reason I say that, don't get discouraged if you think it's this easy. It's not. I think if I had to guess in games I've played, I'm about 50-50 if I had to take a guess. I'm not positive, but that's about right. Okay, so we're done with that. I could buy a card. It's the end of my... Oh, wait. Reynolds has a turn. Forgot about Reynolds. So what am I going to do with Reynolds? I could attack, and let's go ahead and do that. Reynolds is going to attack both of those dudes, and you'll see why, because if I do any damage, any cohesion damage, it affects both of them. So this is outstanding. So he's going to roll 5 dice again because it's a black arrow, no penalty. And look at that. We rolled 2 3s, a 4, 2 4s, and a 6. I'm going to keep that roll. Reason I'm going to keep it, the 2 3s will give me 2 momentum cubes. So I'll grab those. I could always use those. And then the 2 4s makes them suffer 1 cohesion because there's 2 of them. So both Anderson and Colston will suffer. Now, the same would be true of a human player if there were 2. That's why the author says don't do that if at all possible, right? You don't want to do that. So that's Anderson and Colston. Whoa, Colston's down to 3. And we may very well see Colston get removed from this game if I roll a 4, 5, or 6. And it is a 2, so Colston lives to fight another day. Okay? So that's it for them. I could buy a card. I'm just going to keep with what I have. Well, I do like that one. This one means I could use... I'm not going to go ahead and get it. Normally in a game, let's go ahead and get that. So what this means, I could use Hooker and then ready him again. Okay? I like that card. I've got 4 cards here, and I really forget to use this one. 1 die is an automatic 6. You know what I also forgot to use? I'm going to do it right now. It says Reynolds here. I'm going to use this +1 cohesion for any chosen formation. Just to use it. Okay? Just to give you an example of me using cards. And that's it. Okay? So I grab another card. I fill this up. And now we're going to go to the bot turn. Okay? So we go over here to the bot. And let's see what we have here. Okay. So we have Anderson. It says attack if adjacent to enemy, not over the river. Anderson's really, he's doing okay. I'm thinking Colston. So Anderson is going to attack, and he's going to attack Reynolds because that's who's adjacent to him. How many dice does he roll? Reynolds should be there. Okay, so he rolls 2 dice. And oh my goodness, wow, the bot's doing bad. 2 1s. I have never had a game where the bot has done this bad. So 2 1s, the attacker loses 2 cohesion. Anderson goes down 2. And like I said, guys, if you're thinking about getting this game, it's a great game. I know many of you, if you're like me, I want a challenge. Okay? I want a challenge. Well, this game is challenging. Right now, like I said, look at where the cohesion is for the Confederates. Look at me, I'm down 2. And this is beyond a shadow of a doubt the best I've ever rolled dice for the Union. Plus, there are two things you can do to strengthen the game. At the very end of the rules talks about that. go ahead and look up the rules for yourself. You can see about that, okay? So Anderson's done with that. We go to McClaws. I don't even know where McClaws is. McClaws is in that objective right there. He's been kind of quiet lately. It says attack if adjacent to an enemy, not over the river. So he faced this last time. Remember Slocum or Howard? And again, we're going to roll the dice. 1, 2, 3 for Howard and 4, 5, 6 for Slocum. We get a 3. So he is going to attack Howard. Now look at that. 2 green arrows. Does he get 2 extra dice? No, he does not. Right there, it says bot modifier. The bot attacking along double-headed green arrows gets 1 die. So 1 extra die. So he rolls 3. And this time not too good for the human player. A 1, though, the attacker loses 2 cohesion. So McClaws loses 2. That's not real good for him. But he is way up there, so he's doing good on that. But what else do we have here? We have a 5 and a 6. We look at the 5 and the 6. Wow, this is not good. Defender loses 2 cohesion for a 5, 3 cohesion for a 6, plus is forced to retreat. Well, remember I said he's always going to retreat away from 22, and if possible, across the river and north. Okay, looking at the big board, there's north. There's Howard. He's going to definitely go there. Okay, McClaws will take his spot. But remember, that's 5 cohesion. That is huge for Howard. Where's Howard? So Howard's there. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there's nothing I can do to give him a cohesion with my card. So we're going to roll a cohesion roll. And what's he going to go out on? Remember? A 6. We're looking at Howard. Okay, so if I roll a 6, he's out. A 5 or below, he's okay. We rolled a 1, so he lives to fight another day. So we're done with both those guys on that card. And now we continue with the human player. Excuse me. Now I'm going to do something I kind of don't want to do this because my cards are so good. However, and I normally wouldn't do it, I am going to do it at this time just to show you how it's done, okay? So I'm going to use my general. Now when you use your general, you're going to discard one of your cards. And when you do, you kind of also, you eliminate the set. Any set you had created, you would eliminate that. And the discarded one also goes out. Now, in this case, I've got Mead, and Couch, and Sickles, the same card. And I kind of like that card. And I'm going to keep both of those. I will discard Couch, Mead. I'm going to just throw those in the discard pile. And here's what happens. Now, I've used this card. I would slide this over. And I get 3 momentum cubes. That's what that means, 3 cubes. See the 3 cubes? Now what General Hooker tries to do, and it's different for the Confederate, for Lee, for the Confederate general. What he does, it says, countermand any activation. So anything on my card, I can countermand that with 1 major activation plus an additional 2 dice. Now, that's only, if I attack twice, it's only on the first roll, okay? Plus, I get a minor activation. So I can pick any 2 generals out here, and I can do this. And you know, I'm going, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the minor activation first. And my minor activation is going to be Slocum. And the reason I'm going to do that, I just want to move him into here, okay? And I just want to protect him. Okay. Now, one of the things I haven't done the whole game, and I'm going to talk about it now, but I can't do it, is let's say next turn, I play a card with Slocum. I could forego the whole turn, forego any cohesion points, and add a redoubt cube there, okay, which I haven't talked about. That would be defense, okay? But for now, I'm just moving Slocum into there, and that's the end of his turn. Now with Reynolds, I get 2 activations, Well, I'm hoping to put a hurting on Anderson and Colston, maybe knock Colston right out of the game. Okay, so I'm going to roll 5 die because there's no penalty again or advantage. And let's see what we get. Not real great dice this time. Now, I do have a 1, 2, 5, 3, 3. I could just accept that, and I think in this case I am. I'm going to get 2 momentum cubes from it because of the 3s. Okay, remember that? Okay, the other ones mean nothing because they're not doubles. But remember, I'm attacking twice. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is roll 2 additional die. So I'll do that this time. Okay, we'll just reverse it. So I'm rolling the 7 dice this time. And whoa, we got a decent roll. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep the 2 5s. I'm going to keep 1 6. And I am going to re-roll these 4. I'm hoping for a 6. And to do that, let's see, I'm doing it with Reynolds. By the way, I made a mistake when I did Reynolds. I should have moved him down. I don't believe no, I did not. So when I did Slocum, when I used him for minor activation, I should have moved. Reynolds, I'll move. And let's just roll that 1 dice for Reynolds. I hope you catch on. I'm just rolling for an activation, and I rolled a 1. So I'm glad that happened because no harm, no foul. Okay? So I'm going to use 7 dice this time. Remember, I forgot to do it the first turn, or I would have the first time. So I'm using 7, and I'm hoping, whoops, what did we have? We had 2 6s. No, we had a 6 and 2 5s. So I'm rolling the remaining 4 dice here. So we had 2 6s, a 6 and 2 5s. I rolled 4. I'm really hoping for 6. I did not get it. But what I did get was really, really good. Look at that. So I go over here. I've got 1 set of 4s, 2 sets of 5s. So if you add that all together, 1 cohesion loss for the set of 4s, 2 cohesion loss for the 2 set of 5s. So Anderson and Colston both lose 3 cohesion. Let's do Anderson first. 1, 2, and 3. And let's go ahead and take the cohesion test. So a 6, he's dead. We roll a 1, so no harm, no foul. However, look what happens with Colston. He loses 3. 1, 2, 3. He's down to 0. Since he's down to 0, Colston is eliminated. Okay? So we've done all that. And that turn is over. By the way, I could have used momentum cubes to do that. Since I am going to, I think I'll end the game after this turn. I'm not going to worry about buying any cards or anything. I'm just going to flip over the next card. Okay. Now, remember, I have this card if I ever wanted to use it too, back in the saddle. I could reset. In fact, let's just go ahead and use that. I'll do that to reset him. Okay? So I could use Hooker again. You see it's a pretty powerful card. All right? I could have also used and should have used Spirited last time. I should have used him for Reynolds, but I just plain forgot. And I keep forgetting this is a great card, and I haven't used it the whole game, and I've had it almost since the beginning. But if you're playing, it's just you and you're not talking, it'll be a lot easier to remember those things. All right, we're going to do one more Confederate turn just in case something different happens. Maybe it won't. So we start with Hill. Hill is off the board. So it says attack if adjacent to an enemy. He is not. If HMT is 3, which it is, attack 21 or 18. Well, there is 18, and that's 21. He's definitely not going to attack teammate. So he's going to attack with 2 dice. Notice I'm speeding up just a little, and you'll be doing this. And he rolled good here. Now maybe this is the tide is turning now. A 6 and a 5. Look what happens here. So defender loses 2 cohesion for a 5, 3 cohesion for a 6. He's also forced to retreat. He's going to retreat north if possible and away from 22. So he's going to retreat there. Whoops. Missed that, guys. I just took Slocum from here to here. McLaws takes his place. And what did we say? A 5 and a 6? 5 cohesion loss for Slocum. So let's see what happens for Slocum. He goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he takes a cohesion test. So you'll notice, even though the bots look like they're doing bad, they're starting to put a hurt on me too. I got to be careful. Because with me, if I understand this correctly, if I lose 3 of my leaders, game over. Okay? So let's do, that's it. That's an instant loss. So let's go ahead and roll the die. And we rolled a 3, so no harm, no foul. By the way, I forgot to put Reynolds back, so let's do that. So now let's go down the card. We're to early. You know what? I just made a mistake there. Hill is here. Here we go. Hill came off the board to there, okay? I hope I didn't roll extra dice, and I may have. Guys, if I rolled those 2 extra dice, an extra dice because of the 2 green arrows, I apologize. I shouldn't have. Hill came off the board, so he wouldn't have access. But let's just say, I did it right and rolled a 6-5 because I can't remember. All right, so next we go to Early. Where is Early? Oh, Early is dead. So what happens if he's dead? Nothing. Doesn't get resurrected. That's it. Colston is dead. Nothing happens. So that was a very quick bot turn. Okay? So we're done with what I'm going to show. I showed almost everything. Like I said, the one thing I didn't show, let's talk about if there's something here I can show. Yeah, I mentioned this earlier, like if the HMT was 4 and Colston was coming off the HMT to, let's say, space 18, which is a readout, which is a objective. It says otherwise, if there was no attack there, he would build a readout there, okay? And we already handled that. I think we handled maybe not everything, but quite a bit of things that could happen. We talked about the general. Like I said, I talked about from the Union perspective. I don't even know how to play the Confederate perspective, okay? So I hope you learned something from this. That was Chancellorsville, 1863, from a brand new rookie, not the game, the videographer here, brand new rookie. So I apologize for the camera angles, apologize for my mistakes, which I'm sure are going to be there for all the world to see. Let me give you my final thoughts for the game. I'll make them fairly quick. I love the game. I just think it's awesome. If you're looking, let me tell you who this is for. Maybe that's a better way to put it. This is for that gamer, maybe a beginning war gamer, who just wants to get into something easy. Doesn't want all the chits and the rules. You don't want to tackle a 40-page rule book. This is a good game with a qualifier on the rules. I'll talk about that in a minute. This is a good game for a beginner because it plays relatively short. I played through maybe, a third to half a game. Let's see, I'll let you know. I played through, looks like 2/3 of the game in about an hour and 20 minutes. But remember, I'm doing video, I'm explaining. You can get a game of this done, I think, in an hour fairly easy. Even if it goes it might go longer than that when you're new, of course, with any game. But great game. I absolutely love it. The production is very nice. The cards, very good card stock. Okay, very good. The board, although not what I would call flashy, it's not one of those games you're going to say, oh boy, this is one of the most beautiful board games I've seen in my life. It's very functional. Personally, I love functional boards. You notice these small maps. I showed you that one, identical one on the other side. That's for the 2-player game because you can actually hide what you're doing on the map. Okay, and he's got spaces over there for his activation cards. All right, just overall a great game. I love the component quality. I love the rules. I love the simplicity. I love how almost every game is close. Even this one, you can tell, even though it seems like I've really thrown some really good dice. The game, you can see me getting in a little trouble there with Slocum and Howard and Reynolds. If I lose those 3 guys, any 3 guys, I'm done. We've still got several turns. Plus, I'm still got a ways. I remember I still have to knock out one of their Confederate generals, and I have to occupy all three objectives. So you can see why a game would go down to the wire. All right, so I love this design. I never played Freeman's Farm, which is a game prior to this. Um, I've heard, I think Maurice is going to come out with another game. I'm not sure. You can ask him about that. Um, the one thing, now I'm going to just say one negative critique, and please take it positive, whether you're Maurice or a game designer. I'm 64 years old. I've been playing games since I was like 8. If there's one thing that drives me nuts, it's rules, bad rules. These rules are not what I'd call bad. They're just lacking. All right. Lots of questions on Board Game Geek about what you do in this case or that case or this case. The bot player, especially, not very clear. I had to use a help for this. I had to ask questions, and I think I've got it right. If not, I'm sure I will be corrected. If I am corrected, though, whoever corrects me, please annotate why. Please put something down in the rule book or in a FAQ of where you found that I did it wrong, because it wouldn't help much to just put, well, you did this wrong and didn't give a reference, okay? So please do that. Maurice, I'm going to give you and any designer a word of advice. Just take it from an old man with wisdom. Please, because I remember I used to work in IT years ago back in the 90s, and I was also a quality assurance subject matter expert for years. I actually was over 4 states. And I just want to say that I had to write a lot of instructions. You could call them rules if you wanted to. When I wrote those instructions, I always gave them to people who knew nothing about the topic and who, quite frankly, weren't my sharpest people. Okay, and I don't say that as a negative. We all have strengths and weaknesses. But I didn't want to give them to somebody who I'm like, man, this guy, he's going to catch on to whatever I write. My son's like that. Doesn't matter how you write the rules, he'll figure them out. Well, I gave them to people who wouldn't be able to figure them out. And they would always come back with critique. So, and then I'd have to fix them, go back to the drawing board. Might take 2, 3, 4 iterations, but I would do that. So here's my advice for any designer as you write rules for games, not as you write them so much as you have them tested. Yes, of course, you got to give them to your play testers because you got to make sure they're done correctly. But I would also say, absolutely, positively, give them to somebody who has never played the game before. Please, I beg of you to do that. I see that in Euro games it's not done. I see that in war games it's not done. It's just obvious because there's like blatant information missing. And I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to, I'm not, boy, I hope this doesn't sound like I'm bashing Maurice. It's not. It's constructive criticism. Here's why, Maurice. You got a great game here. Don't let it get spoiled by rules. And, you know, some people might think, do I really want to buy another of his games? Because, boy, that last rule set, oh, that was tough. Please, man, I want people to buy your games. I want you to design more games. That'd be great. And by the way, in defense, he is rewriting some of these rules. So from what and he has been on Board Game Geek answering questions to rules. So A+ to him there. Okay. Well, I'm not going to labor any longer. Good game. Let's just end it at that. Good game. I would recommend it. Again, if you're looking for a real heavy war game, this is not your game. There is dice involved, but I find the dice kind of even each other out. There's a way to mitigate some of that. Dice, to me, I don't mind them. It's just part of combat. That's all it is, guys. It's just, that's the way it is. Kind of the luck of what happens, okay? It's a good way to, I can't think of the word right now. Good way to show combat, I guess. That's not the word I'm looking for. But with that said, now I'm just rambling. That's it. That's Chancellorsville 1863. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you had, please give it a thumbs up because I'm thinking I might do, some more of these videos. But if I don't get any more thumbs up, I'll just assume nobody's watching it and, It takes a little work to do this. So if you want to do that, I'd love it. If you want to comment, I'd love it. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.